Okay, there we go. So, hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar session today. Good morning to the ones who are in China. In this case, our guest is from China. That's why we changed a little bit the schedule of our monthly webinar. So, it's great to see that we are now around 30 people connected. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for being part of this community of English teachers. To the ones who probably do not know me, my name is Felipe Mican, and currently I serve as the vice president of the association. Okay. As you know, our mission is to cultivate, support, and treasure the ELT profession, and we have been doing that for 60 years. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all for attending. Just a little reminder of what we do. So we have our national and international conference. It took place like 3 weeks ago in Santa Marta. So we had there around 500 people attended, very interesting workshops, plenary sessions, concurrent sessions, and so on. We also do have our teacher training programs that include these webinars, workshops, and also diploma courses. We also have our special interest group, so we invite you all to go and explore our website, to follow us on social media, and you will be able to get more info related to all these initiatives. And we also have the How Journal, okay? We recently launched a volume, a commemorative volume of what we have been doing, so you are all invited to go and explore How Journal that is part of the association as well, okay? We, on behalf of the board of directors, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and the administrative manager, we would like to thank you all for attending our event in Santa Marta. It was a great experience. We also celebrated the 60th anniversary, and it was enriching to all of us. So thank you all for being part of this event. And well, we are now working on our next annual conference, and of course, in all the possibilities that ASOCOPI has for the community. Important part, we invite you, the ones who attended or the ones who just want to go and explore, to download your favorite pictures. We have uploaded them to an online folder. It's going to be available, I think, until the end of November. So if you attended the conference, feel free to scan this QR code. I will also leave it later on the chat box, and then you will be able to get the pictures that we got there. Okay, so feel free to go and explore. Some of you have been asking us about, hey, well, when are we going to be posting the pictures? They are already posted on Instagram, and they are also available there on this folder. So feel free to scan the QR code, or I'll be leaving their link also in the chat box. Now, you may be wondering, like, how come that ASOCOPE is now having this partnership with people from China? I also had the great opportunity to travel to China some months ago, and this is part of a memorandum of understanding that we signed with 21st Century Media and Education, and we are part of what is called the Belt and Road Languages and Cultures Network. Okay, so this is an international collaboration between China and other countries in Latin America. It's signed with Brazil and Colombia, and now ASOCOP is part of this initiative. And we signed it back in July. So this is part of the possibilities of action that we have, the academic collaboration, and the people-to-people exchanges that we are fostering within our community, and of course with people and scholars from China. So guys, without further ado, let me introduce you to Edward Wen. You can read his full description here. So he's an associate head of languages and communication at Hong Kong Polytechnic University. His research on translanguaging, language aptitude, and working memory has received international recognition, and he has also been invited to speeches at many conferences and publications by Cambridge and Oxford University presses. So thank you, Edward, for attending our conference today, our webinar today. Thank you also for being so kind and charming, the sense of collaborating, willing to cooperate with us. And the floor is all yours. We are now around 40 people connected. So thank you once again, Edward. Just remember that you have around 40 minutes for your presentation, and then we will be having a Q&A session. If you have comments, questions, feel free to leave them in the chat box, and then I'll be moderating a little bit the conversation with you. So, well, let's get started.
Thank you, Andres. Okay, so you can hear me all right?
Yes, perfectly.
Perfectly, and you can see my screen. I can see my full screen, right? Okay, and I can't see you guys. Okay.
We can listen to you, so do not worry. You are
Right,
there.
right, right. Okay, so okay, I can only see my full screen, and and I can't see your faces and other things and chat room, etc. Am I right? So this is the right way. So thank you so much, okay, for the invitation, and thank you to 21st Century and TCA. So I have been attending the annual conferences for organized by TCA since 2018, and most of the time, okay. And it's too bad I missed the Beijing conference, okay, in July when you were there. So I look forward to further, okay, meeting up, okay. But let's meet up here like this first of all. Thank you to all friends from Colombia, from China, okay. So this is Edward Wen, okay, from Hong Kong, China, okay. I'm very glad to share my recent thinking or my recent research in translanguaging. As you see, okay, the title of my talk is the Translanguaging Self Hypothesis, okay, a GBA. So you may not know GBA for the moment. I'm going to explain it. Okay, the GBA-Inspired framework for digital and AI enhanced language pedagogy. So thank you so much for this opportunity. So I'm currently Associate Head of the Division of Languages and Communication at the College of Professional and Continuing Education in at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University here in Hong Kong, okay, China. So let's see. Because I'm a working memory guy, normally I would not go over, okay, yeah, 4 5 or 6, okay, definitely not over 7 things in my talk, okay, because that's the magical number, okay, otherwise you will forget, okay. I hope to briefly go over the translanguaging theory. I'm glad to hear, to know that, okay, some of you may have known Professor Li Wei, okay, his work, or his work, okay, or Professor Garcia's work, right? So I'm going to briefly go over translanguaging as theory or translanguaging as method. Okay, then I'm going to talk about my own theory, which is based on my 30 years of GBA translanguaging, okay, experience in China. Okay, so the translanguaging self hypothesis is a theory that I have put forward, okay, in recent months. Okay, so this is new, so I'm looking forward to hearing feedbacks from friends from China and from Colombia, okay? And then I'm going to explain the theoretical framework or the implementation framework for my translanguaging self-theory, which I divided into translanguaging brain, translanguaging body, and translanguaging technology. I call it the PPT, okay, framework. And the fourth one, I'm going to talk about, okay, two, okay, products that are coming out of this hypothesis. The first one is what I shall call digital language portraits, DLPs, okay, and the next one is the translanguaging bank database. So both of these are still in the process of, okay, thinking. So I'm very glad that we can share this with you guys, and you can help me to, okay, think about the possibilities and the limitations, etc. So this is a exchange of ideas and learning. I'm hoping to learn from you guys as well. Okay, so and lastly, I'm briefly, okay, outlining my, okay, plan for the GBA, the ASEAN, the Belt and Road Initiative, Global South, including, okay, some quick thoughts, okay, for language policies in Colombia. So that is basically the 5 things. Okay, I hope that by the end of the talk, you will be, okay, remembering some of these. Okay, even if, okay, yeah, we will see, okay, whether you are listening, okay, attentively. Okay, I realize it's a different time zone, right? So I'm morning, okay, here it's morning here, and you are, okay, evening right there. So let's see. Okay, so where do I come from? So GBA, you need to know by now, okay, the Greater Bay Area in China, okay. So it consists of the Guangdong province, okay, yeah, Hong Kong, Macau, yeah, altogether 11 cities, 2 SARs. Maybe many of you have heard of, okay, Hong Kong, okay, Macau, okay, and 9 cities in Guangdong province, okay. So it covers over, okay, 87 million, it has over 87 million people, okay, covers 5,600 square kilometers, okay, with a huge GDP of 14 trillion, okay. It was dominated by three languages, okay, Cantonese, English, okay, Mandarin, Portuguese, etc. And four, I mean, in Macau, okay, where I used to be working, okay, and many other minority languages or local dialects, etc. So similar to Colombia, okay, I realized, okay, you have about 60 languages spoken in Colombia. Here we have many other languages spoken here as well. So it is a multilingual and multicultural region, okay, in Hong Kong, and you can use English very freely. Most of the people here in Hong Kong, China, you can communicate in English. So we here in Hong Kong, we call it the biliteracy. Okay, in other words, Chinese and English, and trilingualism. In other words, okay, Cantonese, English, and Mandarin. Okay, so this is the language policy part. That's where I have spent my past 50 years here. Okay, right. So my professional teacher training, similar to many of you, okay, was started in 1991. Okay, when I attended the Guangdong Teachers College of Foreign Languages and Arts. I mean, used to be foreign languages, but later they combined it into another school with arts. Okay, I got my what we call associate degree there, and then I moved to South China Normal University. Okay, in China, when we call it normal, it means it's teachers college, right? It's teachers university. So South China Normal University, and then I spent 1 year teaching as a English teacher in Zhuhai, the coastal city of southern China. Okay, and later I went back to Guangzhou, okay, to do my master degree in applied linguistics and linguistics. Okay, and I was interested in genre analysis. So I remember in 2001, okay, I met those genre analysis people, okay, John Swells, okay, Ken Highland, okay, Vijay Bhatia. So we had a very nice gathering in Guangzhou Garden Hotel back in 2001. So I was very enthusiastic about genre analysis, and I became very interested in genre analysis. And I did my master in Chairman Statements, okay, in corporate annual reports. I conducted one of the early studies of genre analysis, okay, of these Chairman Statements. I'm still working on some of the genre analysis at this moment, okay. Then I came to Hong Kong here, okay, in 2004, okay, and did my PhD, okay, with Professor Peter Skian. And you know from the photo, okay, yeah, Marus Ray was visiting us, okay, in 2006. So we took a nice photo of the four of us, another classmate, okay, in those days. So it's been like 20 years ago, okay, yeah. So I developed my research interest with foreign language aptitude, and also I following Peter's, okay, and task-based language teaching, following Peter's jurisdiction. But I also work very hard on my own research interest, okay, which is inspired by Peter, okay, on working memory. So my thesis was actually task-based language teaching and working memory, okay, and so it was a happy time in Hong Kong, 2004, right? So after that, I was teaching in Hong Kong for about doing my PhD and teaching for about 10 years. First at Hong Kong Xuan University, and then Chinese University of Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong U. So spent after 13 years in Guangzhou, 10 years in Hong Kong, I moved to Macau. Just 1 hour, by ferry in those days. Now we have a bridge, which just again another hour, just an hour, from Hong Kong to Macau. So here is my story of translanguaging began, because I used to be working in the Faculty of Languages and Translation in Macau Polytechnic University, MPU, and then I was leading my fellow colleagues, to conduct work in literature, in translation, etc. So from then on, I was interested in translanguaging after like 20 years of researching working memory and language aptitude. So Now the question is, after spending 13 years in Guangzhou, 10 years in Hong Kong, 10 years in Macau, so I have experienced, okay, this, okay, transformation from an FO learner to an FO teacher, okay, and I have been researching, okay, this, okay, phenomenon, and so I listen to it. So sometimes I wonder it because actually my native language was Cantonese, but it's a local dialect of Cantonese. But most of the time I am speaking using English in my life, okay, and Mandarin, okay, and then Cantonese, the standard Cantonese form. So in other words, okay, 90% of my time here are not using my, okay, it's not using my mother tongue. So I was very, okay, yeah, struck by the book by Ray Zhao. Okay, who am I when I'm not, okay, speaking like a native speaker? So 90% of my time is spent speaking other languages than my native tongue. Okay, so this is a question. Okay, and then I listened to a talk yeah, by a school girl. Okay, who is having a French father, a Cantonese mother, and she gave this talk and a competition and saying that perhaps, okay, we she's that kind of what third culture kid because it's not French, it's not Chinese, and she's something else. So I was thinking, who am I? Okay, or perhaps third culture kid may not be the answer. Okay, it I have maybe we need to think about a third. Looks like you are the marginalized one. So I'm thinking, and then who am I? So then as I said, okay, so I began to be interested in translanguaging by Professor Li Wei. Okay, Li Wei's idea. I have known Professor Li Wei for over 20 years, but I have not, okay, got interested in his research area of translanguaging only after, okay, I mean, before my Macau stay, okay, so only in recent years I became, okay, interested in translanguaging, and the more I look into it, the more I study it, the more I like it, and particularly, okay, late, then I think it's a few months ago, okay, I gave a talk to University of Vic, okay, and then they call me, okay, I mean, the person, okay, who wrote to us, hello, translanguager. So after the talk, so I found this is very inspiring. So I began to use the term, we are all translanguager. So we are the translanguaging being. So this is or I developed my idea into a broader perspective. Okay. So I'm thinking everybody to some extent is a translanguaging being, is a translanguager. So we are in the process of, okay, in search of our own multilingual identity. Okay. So I gave this talk, okay, at CABI, California Association of for Bilingual Education. Okay, and I began to, okay, fully develop this idea. So the fundamental question is, okay, in a world of multiple languages or identities like Hong Kong, like Colombia, where does the self, okay, or in other words, where does the multilingual self, like, okay, us, okay, I believe all of us, okay, are speaking more than one languages, or at least to some extent, okay, different minority, different, okay, modalities that we are using in communicating our ideas. So is this, okay, in our brain, in our body, in our technology? Now everybody is talking about AI.
Hello.
Hello, are we clear? Okay, perhaps all three, right? So
Yes.
good, right? Any questions? Okay, good. So far so good.
Yeah, so far so good. You can continue.
Okay.
We invite
Everything is good.
the
Alright.
audience if you
Thank
want
you. Because
to.
I can't see you guys. Okay. Yes, I only see I can only see my screen. Okay. So I
Yeah,
will.
Edward, just a little remark to the audience. Remember, guys, that you can leave your questions, comments there in the chat box, and then after his presentation, we will be having this time to interact with Edward. So thank you, Edward, and you can continue.
Okay. Thank you. So because I can't see the chat room, I can't see you guys. Okay. I can only see my screen, my full screen. Okay. I will move on. Right. In that case. So okay. So what is translanguaging? I mean, I try to give a chat room for you to write. How many of you have heard of the term? Okay, so if not, you can watch this. Okay, translanguaging code switching. Okay, explained by Mike Minner. Okay, So I think you will like it. Okay. So translanguaging refers to the dynamic meaning-making process whereby multilingual language users make full use of their communicative repertoires by crossing the boundaries between the named languages and other semiotic or modal resources. So based on Garcia and Lee's definition, and it is a very hit topic in around the world. Okay, so in the word itself, we are looking, if you're looking at the etymology of translanguaging, trans meaning beyond, right? As you can see, transcend, right? Transcends disciplinary boundaries and linguistic boundaries, and transcends the boundaries between human cognition and communication, right? So ing, translanguaging, ing is the end, the suffix, okay? So translanguaging is the dynamic process whereby multilingual language users mediate complex social and cognitive activities through strategic employment of multiple semiotic resources to act, to know, and to be. So this is multisensory, multimodal, multisemiotic, and multilingual nature of meaning making. In other words, we are trying every possible means to make meaning, right? So now this is the exciting part that I want to have some interaction from from you guys in the chat room. So translanguaging, what about, so we have looked at the prefix trans and the suffix ing, but we recently think that the language itself, translanguaging, right? So we not many people have, perhaps we are forgetting language, for example. So that's why we wrote this paper in last year, right? So published in last year. So in perhaps you will be doing it better than me. Language, which means tongue, the language, mother tongue, mother language, right? So in our recent paper, we aim to explore how translanguaging is enacted in the mechanism, food, fatty, sagodu, in Portuguese. I believe you are speaking it better than me. Because I have this friend who studies Portuguese, Professor Han, in Macau Polytechnic University. So it's a mixture, mixed cuisine. So through this mixed cuisine in Macau, it allows us to peer into the critical values, the identities, and the relationships of the multilingual Mecanese group in Macau. So when I was in America, I asked people, I asked my audience to come up with some mixed cuisines in their own culture. I believe that there should be some, in the Colombia. Many of you are Bogota, coming from Bogota, so perhaps you can help to write, down some mixed food in Bogota or in Colombia that are mixing different flavors together. You can write it up. We will discuss it later. I believe this is an interesting topic. If you like, we can organize a symposium. I think this is more interesting than linguistics and apply linguistics perhaps. So if you have similar food, I found one. What was it like? So the first photo is Takodu, and the second one is from Colombia. Am I right? So I try to Google it and see if it is true. Because I've never been to Colombia, so you can help me to talk about that later on. But please put down some other mixed cuisines in Colombia. So this can be something that you can write on, right? So this is interesting. So as we see, translanguaging has been developed, over the past 30 years. Two major proponents of translanguaging theory, of course, the most famous one, Professor Ophelia Garcia, from New York University, and the other one is Professor Li Wei from UCL, IOE, and you can see the connections between them, and by the way, if you are interested in translanguaging, a recent book, just come out, I think, just fresh come out, it's become very popular here in China. We are circulating the news about this publication. I've been following it before it was published. So you can see the what we call the growth of translanguaging research over the years, over the past 30 years. And this is the latest book, the handbook of translanguaging, which virtually has got most of the things that you are that you need to read if you are doing research in this area. And there are some general trends in the development from simple to more complicated. Okay, nowadays everybody is talking about translanguaging, including people in the field of language education, monolingualism, writing, trans-Semitizing, translanguaging, multilingual education, identity, etc. So among these, I am most interested in the translanguaging self theory. I realized the format of the format of my PPT has some problem, because I'm using my laptop. I should have used my desktop there. But anyway, so translanguaging has now matured into a comprehensive theoretical construct. So it includes perspective from pedagogical, sociolinguistic, cognitive, and technological dimensions, transcending its initial role as a classroom strategy. So it has gone beyond language pedagogy. So the current paradigms include classroom-based studies, cognitive frameworks, and multimodal approaches. However, the gaps remain in what we call localized applications. So that's why I developed it from a Greater Bay Area resource. And number one, number two is AI. Right now, everybody is talking about AI. So how these can be incorporated. So why translanguaging in the Greater Bay Area? So because the Greater Bay Area is a multilingual region encompassing Cantonese, Mandarin, English, and Portuguese, among many other minority languages. And I believe it is similar cases for Colombia situations or contexts. So it offers a rich environment for TESOL, innovation and inclusive pedagogies that reflect linguistic diversity. So as we see, as we know, Professor Ophelia Garcia has been a key component, what we call an advocate for translanguaging pedagogy. It encourages students to use resources from their whole linguistic repertoire, all the languages that you have possessed, right? And encourage particularly for language minority children and Spanish speakers, in the USA, for example, right? So it has used to be, the minoritized languages. So in other words, we should be, giving them the equal status, languages. So as, Li Wei and Garcia has recently argued, our mother tongue or our first language is not a first language, but is one repertoire. So this is look at languages or resources from a resource perspective, language resource perspective. It's all part of our repertoire. So the main idea. So translanguaging has developed as a theory, as Professor Li Wei has mentioned in his most cited. Now, the paper was published in Applied Linguistics in 2018. It has been cited over 4,000 times by now. I check it every time I make a talk. Every time several hundred citations has been has appeared. So translanguaging refers to the different languages and the language varieties. More important is this process of knowledge construction that goes beyond the languages that you have known. So it transcends the socially and politically defined boundaries of named languages. So in other words, it's more like an orchestration in which all the diverse and multilingual skills and the resources in meaning making. So like an orchestration, all the musical instruments are equally important. So all the languages that you know, all the linguistic resources that you know, all the semiotic resources, all the multimodal resources that you know are fully utilized to make meaning. So this is important. And so it is a translanguaging space. For example, the classroom should be considered a translanguaging space where all our linguistic resources should be utilized, should be capitalized on. For example, in my case, I mean in my family, we are using all the three languages, the three dialects, the two languages, Chinese, English, and in Chinese we use Cantonese and Mandarin as well. So our family is a translanguaging space. In the classroom is a translanguaging space. And if we look at our brain, it is a translanguaging space where our linguistic resources are being utilized. So this is an interesting concept that I like a lot. Translanguaging has been also proposed as a method. We have used particularly, Professor Li Wei has mentioned this moment analysis. When at this moment, for example, when I'm talking to you, my Chinese, my Cantonese, my my Mandarin, my English are all being used in my brain. So this moment analysis. Okay. In second language acquisition, where I come from mostly, okay, yeah, we have pause analysis. In translation, where I have been teaching and learning, so we also try to identify, okay, the we identify two moments. Okay, one is the peak moment. Okay, when you have no idea, or in other words, when you are at this peak moment. Okay, the flying moment when you translate languages you, without boundaries. Okay, so this is the spur. Okay, yeah, of the moment actions. Okay, so this is the peak moment. Other moments when you're struggling for a word. Okay, to communicate. So that is the what we call the embarrassing moment or the silence moment. Okay, so these are interesting perspective for translation. Okay, right. So now here is the second part, the most important part, which is my own part. Okay, so translanguaging, I have recently become very interested in developing my translanguaging self hypothesis. So what is it? Okay, so translanguaging self emerges from dynamic embodied translingual negotiations across neurocognitive, okay, sociocultural, and technological systems, because I've been studying all these three areas. Okay, so it helps to fill the gap for current translanguaging as theory and method by providing answers to how does this fluidity, okay, become embodied, because I'm interested in neuroscience as well. So embodies connection, and where is the self in translanguaging residing in which part of our body. And finally, everybody is talking about AI. So what role does AI play in shaping our multilingual identity in this AI and digital age? So that is something I'm trying to say. So how does multilingual self really work in each one of us? For example, in Macau, so I was in Las Vegas, okay, in July, okay, similar to Macau, Las Vegas is famous for casinos. Macau is famous for casinos. So when you are working in the casino, you are the casino dealers, okay. So I believe that is the best example of everybody. Most of these people have a translanguaging brain, okay, where they can, okay, use the different linguistic resources, different modalities, different semiotic resources in order to make meaning. Okay, so this is something that I have trying to, okay, go into the casino to research this my casino dealers. Okay, and the second part is the body. Okay, so our body, okay, identity isn't just spoken, it is lived through. Okay, so our body, so embodiment. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, for example, in Hong Kong we say God, that means thank you. And later I'm going to ask you, okay, how would you say, I mean, what kind of gesture do you use when you are saying thank you in Spanish in Colombia? Okay, so that is the body. Our body is part of our linguistic resources as well, and technology is our co-learner nowadays. Okay, we believe AI is our co-learner. Okay, so in the GBA, okay, we don't have languages. We are all translanguaging. We are all translanguages. So this is a very big statement that I am making. Okay, all right. Okay, so now I'm looking at the brain body tech, okay, trial, the framework, okay, because I have been teaching, okay, psycholinguistics. So in the past, we have the social brain by Robin Dunbar. Okay, social brain meaning the more friends you have, the larger your brain will be, the smarter you will become. Okay, and the cultural brain and the reading brain and the bilingual brain and the entangled brain. I believe that all these are good, okay, explanation, but they are not complete. Why? Because they haven't been, okay, comprehensively describing who we are. So I believe that the translanguaging brain is a bigger is a much, okay, a more comprehensive description of our who we are. So this is why, because we have the brain plasticity, embodied cognition, and intelligence technology that I am advocating. So this answers, okay, the question, who am I? I mean, the fundamental question of the philosophy. Okay, so if you want to be a philosophy, you need to answer three questions, right? Number one is who am I? Number two is, okay, where did I come from? Number three is where I'm going. So I think translanguaging brain, okay, move the answer closer okay, to who am I. Of course, we haven't solved the problem, but at least, okay, we are getting closer to a better understanding of who we are. So we are all translanguaging being or translanguager. Okay, yeah, and we are all carrying a translanguaging brain. At least it's my brain, as I will show you. Okay, so in my previous, okay, yeah, okay, I'm researching language aptitude. So in MIT, they have, okay, done research for polyglots, people who are speaking over 5 languages. Okay, and they found that actually the polyglots, you can see the brain waves, okay, they are more efficient in the language networks, okay, and so I can use this as evidence saying, okay, suggesting that polyglots brains are built for efficiency, okay, less is more, okay, but they are wired for translanguaging. In other words, they are the most developed, okay, translanguager. Okay, so if you speak one language, you are a translanguager by using language and your other resources. But if you are multilingual or polyglots, even, you are most efficient user. You are the best example of what a translanguager should be looking like. So this is an important. So this is the big moment. Okay, so this is something that I have developed. Okay, I use AI to generate what I call the Greater Bay Area Translanguaging Brain. So this is what it's like. Okay, so it is, the background is in Hong Kong. You can see the Chinese characters in the background, and then the brain. Okay, the brain part is consisting of many of the linguistic resources that we have. Okay, so including Mandarin Chinese, okay, Cantonese, okay, English, French, okay, or Spanish, or whatever other languages that you have in your possession. So this is, and the prototype is a bun, okay, cha sao bao. So this is something that I'm going to, okay, if you are coming here, do let me know so that I can, okay, buy you a cha sao bao. This is the bun, okay, that we are very, okay, famous for, okay, in Hong Kong, in the dim sum. So this is a dim sum, okay, if you have, okay, been to China or Hong Kong, right? So you're welcome to visit us, and I'm going to buy you a dim sum, okay, cha sao bao. So and make sure you understand my translanguaging brain metaphor. Okay, so in this one, okay, polyglot brains are built for efficiency, while for translanguaging. Okay, so this is the best example of, okay, yeah, I cha sao bao, right? So right. So in that case, okay, the translanguaging brain isn't just a circuit board; it is a dim sum card. Every byte in the cha sao bao is a new combination. So it is not something that you have, okay, separated, but it's something that is mixed all together. It is our own, okay, what we call, okay, unique, okay, linguistic resources. Right. Now that's, so this is a translanguaging theory, translanguaging self, translanguaging brain. The second thing of my framework is translanguaging body. So I developed this, okay, what we call embodiment from research with my, okay, our former PhD student in Hong Kong, Macau Polytechnic University. So in the past, okay, language portraits, okay, I believe it, I have argued it, we have argued it, okay, the language portraits as a translanguaging space. So this is a body silhouette, okay, in, and we call it language portraits, okay. So I believe it is a another very good example of translanguaging space, because through it we can explore what linguistic resources can help us to create meaning, and we are going to examine how linguistic and semiotic systems interact. So for example, how are we going to do it? Okay, so first part, step one, is we are going to ask you to for some basic information so that we can have some knowledge of your biopsychological history. Okay, we call it the biopsychosocial or cognitive history, right? So all the languages that you know, okay, all your background. So if I am, okay, at the workshop, I will like you to grab a piece of paper, okay, and I'm going to give you this, okay, body silhouette, okay, in which you are, okay, requested to draw the different languages onto the different parts of the body. Okay, so we'll say, for example, I'm going to put my Cantonese here, put my Portuguese there, put my English here. So we are going to, okay, ask you to how come for example, why you're putting your Chinese here, your English there, etc. So this is the how we are going to do it. Okay, so because of the time limit, we won't have time to do it, but okay, this is what has been done in the past. Okay, so people have been using it to ask the kids to draw their language portraits. But in our recent research, when I was in Macau, so we did research with language portraits, but we are moving it towards okay a more developed format. So used to be okay paper and crayon, okay, so paper and color pens, okay, but we turned it into a more digital and multimodal format by putting it into a computer screen. Okay, so we make it digital. Number one, we make it multimodal. Number two, number three, we are also okay adding a lot of okay digital affordances, emojis, icons, etc. for them to use. So this is what we have done in our past. Okay, so there are some papers that we have published. Okay, so this is so now okay you can see these are the things okay so in our recent papers okay we call it language portraits going digital and going multimodal, and it is providing us with a embodied visualization of our linguistic repertoires. So we use emoticons, okay, memes, digital collages, okay, in order to get these colored language portraits marked with linguistic codes. So this is something we have done. We investigated that what we call multilingual perspective. And this is the task design for people who are interested in our research. You can read the papers. But more importantly, we also introduce a computer vision technology with our collaborator who are specialized in computer modeling. So this is so after the participants have drawn on the body, the different parts of the languages, different parts of the body, we're able to use k-means to separate the different parts of the body. For example, we found you have 38% belonging to Portuguese, 24% belonging to Chinese, etc. So this is providing us with a clearer picture or portraits of who we are. We are the translanguaging self. So this is more like a self-portrait of your translanguaging being. So that is why the more I look at this, the more I feel, this is going to be an exciting development for language portraits and for my theory of translanguaging self. Then that is everybody's translanguaging self if you are drawing this, and you are telling us your story. So this is an example that we have collected. So you can see our speaker here speaks Cantonese in the head, or putting Cantonese in the head, Portuguese, and then Japanese, English, and Cantonese, and Mandarin, etc. So all for different purposes, for different multi-functions in social cultural life. So here is, for example, in Chinese, they use blue to, we're asking, why did you choose blue to represent English? Because my English writing is just so. So in Chinese, there's 蓝瘦想哭. So this is meaning a very hard feeling and almost crying. So this is representing the emotions as well, the color and the emotions and the body and the linguistic resources, everything comes to play. So is there another example? You can see this is how we are going to, so this is digital language portraits give us a very vivid representation of who we are as a translanguager or multilingual speakers. So this is something that we have developed, and I have developed it as a model. So in terms of translanguaging space, so digital language portraits helps us to demystify, or to unveil the embodied translanguaging body and the translanguaging technology. So that's why my translanguaging self hypothesis consists of three parts. The first one, our translanguaging brain, which is a translanguaging space. Our translanguaging body, which is the language portraits, and technology. With this digital AI, we can best express our meaning. So this is a digital translanguaging space Okay, in this case, we are deciphering, okay, the digital translanguaging space in our multilingual self. So what does it mean? It means in the future,
Professor
yeah.
Edward, you have 5 minutes left.
Good, thank you so much. That's enough. Okay, yeah. So in the past, in the future, we can move this to robotic, from digital to robotics, right? So that is something we can explore. And my next is so the first product is digital language portraits. The second product is Translanguaging Bank. I listened to a talk. I invited Professor Brian McWhitney from Carnegie Mellon University, okay, to give a talk here at my university in the 2025, okay, Hong Kong Second Language Acquisition Research, okay, Forum, and he gave us a talk on TalkBank, okay. So you know the TalkBank is the world's largest, okay, open access database for spoken language, involve, okay, thousands of papers, okay, and then registered users and many languages, okay. But what is missing, as I said, is something like translanguaging, like people who like me, okay, when we are using the different languages in our daily life. So the biggest is the bilingual, but I'm actually using, okay, three languages or dialects, etc. So my multilingual resources is much more than this. So it is lacking this part. So my next plan is to build this what translanguaging bank for the future, right? So this is something I aim to do, okay. So I hope that people from Colombia will be able to join us, okay, to collect data and to build up this corpus. This is a world, okay, level or global level, okay, yeah, data bank that I'm thinking of, okay, yeah, building. So I'm calling out for actions and for collaboration researchers with in research. So this translanguaging bank, okay, is part of the TalkBank expansion. Okay, it involves the, okay, hybrid language corpus, multimodal annotation, cognitive flow metrics, and open resource, okay, to the world, so that we can keep it and share it to the whole world. So this is in the future we can talk about this, okay, including, okay, yeah, now I've done this research in Macau, in Hong Kong, in GBA, and I'm going to move to, okay, California, okay, Southeast Asia, BRICS, okay, the Belt and Road Initiative. Hopefully, Colombia will be able to join us as well. Okay, all the global South countries, okay, we can, okay, share and do this together as a group project. Okay, so in the future, okay, so hopefully we can do this as a ecological language policies, okay, where we cherish every part, every linguistic resources our students have, and make them understand we are all translanguaging self, okay, so that we are confident, we are integrated identities here with all the languages that we are able to speak, all the multiple semiotics resources, all the multimodal resources that we can have. So a call to action, let's stop asking our students and ourselves to leave parts of our identity at the classroom door, and let's build an education system for the multilingual beings that we are already. So to conclude, okay, in 1 minute, the translanguaging self hypothesis and the translanguaging brain, translanguaging body, and translanguaging technology trial framework. So your brain doesn't store languages separately; it blends them. Okay, like a cha sao bao. Okay. Number two, your body doesn't just speak; it gestures, it innotates. Okay, it intonates. Okay, it ignos. And finally, technology AI is not just a tool; it is a part of our how you think. It is our co-learner. The final thought, the translanguaging self isn't just a model, it is an order. It is an ode to our multilingual becoming. After all, we are all, okay, translanguages. It tells who we are. So we are all translanguaging beings, translanguaging becomings, translanguages, carrying a translanguaging brain and translanguaging body in a digital AI era. And I wish to thank my, okay, researchers, okay, collaborators in the past, okay, and here are some of my books, and muchas gracias for your. And one last, okay, yeah, minute of promotion. We are organizing this, okay, annual conference in Hong Kong in PolyU. Speak here, okay. So you're more than welcome to scan the QR code if you are interested to coming, okay, interested in coming to join us. Okay, we are talking about AI, okay, pedagogy, okay, in January, okay, the 5th and January the 6th. okay, is our conference. I wish to thank all of you for your attention, and I'm welcoming questions from you all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Edorven, for this insightful presentation. I think, well, there is a big round of applause there going on in the chat. Also, there are people who might have some questions. So now we have got some time to share. If you have, guys, any questions, feel free to type them, write them down there in the chat box, or if it is not the case, well, feel free to open your mic, and it's also a possibility that we have now. So let me double check here. People are thanking you. People are also clapping. And so let's see. So let's just give them a second. Well, before, people were referring to dishes or plates here in Colombia that have this, mixing there possibilities. So let's see. If anybody that has a question, feel free to open your mic. Or, well, so
Yeah.
I would like to start, Professor Edward, like when people get them some there. What would be the role? Because you were mentioning, this embodied situation, but I'd like to know a little bit what's your understanding of emotion in this hypothesis or in this model? Because is it like a cognitive understanding of emotions that they are based on the brain, or what can you tell us about this possibility of including emotions and the relationship with the bodies that you mentioned?
Thank you so much. Okay, that is getting very, very hot. So I look at it from a cognitive perspective, but nowadays not everybody, I mean, I'm the cognitive expert, right? So now more emotional people are, so emotion, boredom, anxiety, etc. Are being popular now. So for example, remember my hypothesis, okay, the robotics, for example, now it's digital. Next time it's going to be robotic. So I'm going to build robots for collecting data. So I'm going to ask my participants to draw on the robots. So when you are drawing on the robots, you are going to, okay, my robots are going to measure your forces. For example, I'm speaking Chinese, so I'm a Chinese, for example. So you will be drawing Chinese onto the robot, okay, with a lot of forces. Then when you are drawing, okay, come on, I'm just using Portuguese, for example, or other languages for fun or for etc. But I'm a Chinese. My blood is running through my Chinese is running through my blood. So emotions can be detected in that area. Okay, so color also represents, okay, our emotions. Okay, digital touch also represents our emotions. But again, I haven't done it yet. It's only my hypothesis for the moment, but it's going to be very exciting. I can tell you. And I'm hoping that friends in Colombia can also join us in working on this emotion. So in UCL, we have a Druid, okay, professor, and she's interested in digital touch. Okay, digital touch can be emotion, expression of your emotion. So digital language portraits can be a very good way to collect emotional, so emotional information about your attitudes towards the different languages. So this is,
All
what
right.
we are going to do. Right. Thank you.
Okay, well, so thank you, Professor Edward, for your response. Then Fernanda Felix Pinati, she asked there, how do you think can teachers navigate policies about bilingualism in schools and shift the narrative to translanguaging? Maybe, well, in the context of Colombia, the policies have privileged bilingualism simply understood as Spanish and English, in detrimental of other languages, and we are even in a multilingual country. So what do you think about these navigating policies about bilingualism in schools and shift the narrative to translanguaging?
Thank you. So this is similar case in all over the world, in Hong Kong, right? For example, we are talking about Hong Kong. In Hong Kong here with Cantonese, Chinese, and Cantonese, Mandarin, and English, right? So it's bilingual. But actually, for example, like myself, I'm speaking, okay, my own dialects and other languages. So these are, so I mean, this, I mean, in the past, okay, people have been focusing on the bilingual, right? But as we move on, okay, as we develop more and more, okay, our theory to the officials, for example, so the officials haven't heard about our voices yet. Okay, but in the days to come, okay, when all of us are accepting, for example, here in Hong Kong, we are now calling for this bilingual literate policy. I mean, in for example, in Colombia, you can have Spanish, English, and other local indigenous languages. Okay, so this is going to be our policy. So, for example, in a classroom nowadays, in the past, it was always taught by net teacher, English native speaker. Okay, I mean, English native speaker also need to learn the local languages nowadays. Okay, based on this theory, hopefully it will be better if you learn it, but if you not, it's okay. So that the policy is going to change. Okay, so we are going to treat all the linguistic resources of the students more equally, similar to what Ophelia Garcia has been doing. Okay, otherwise, if you think you should speak like a native speaker of English, you should speak like a native speaker of Spanish, for example, in Hong Kong, so it's extremely difficult or mission impossible. Okay, so what we are saying is, for example, like myself, so I am a Cantonese, I'm a native speaker of Mandarin or Cantonese, etc. But more importantly, I am a translanguager. So I have English in my disposal as my linguistic resources. I can talk to people like you, in English. I can talk to local people in Mandarin, in Cantonese, etc. So this is a more complex. That's who I am. For example, I have friends who are studying medicine in the UK, and they come back to Hong Kong and they can't find a job because they know Cantonese, but it's not to the professional level. Okay, so it's something that we need to think about. Our language policy as we move on. Things becoming clearer and clearer. Then we have a better language policy. So that is our future. But at this moment, similar to your case, we are still at this very fixed mindset, of either the bilingual or not. But I think in the days to come, we will be more used to the language or linguistic resources view. We appreciate all the linguistic resources, all the multimodal resources that we have, and we will treat them equally. So that is the future. But as you know, it's the same situation here in Hong Kong.
All right, okay. Maybe we can have an additional minute to discuss a question by Juan Pablo Diaz Sarmiento. And he asked, how can educators intentionally design learning environments where children's bodies, emotions, and multimodal expression are actively recognized as part of their translanguaging repertoires? Maybe thinking about what teachers do, what educators do.
Exactly. So that's why I need to develop. So I try to have the pattern for my digital language portraits. So digital language portraits can be a very good way to go through with these. So we invite the kids, to draw their different language portraits, and then while they are drawing, we are talking with them, right? So for example, your Chinese is here, your Portuguese is there, your Spanish is there. So and then we are asking them, when do you use it? Why? When did you learn it? When are you using it? So through this way, they have a better understanding of, number one, who they are. Number two, what languages to use on what occasion. Number three, so what for the future, right? So you have a better idea. For example, I may not be able to use, for example, French in the rest of my life. So you may not need to learn it, but I'm going to use English all the time. So you are going to spend more time on learning it. So this is going to develop your, what we call learner agency, right? So you have a clear idea what is most important to you. For example, here in Hong Kong, 90% of my students are going to use Chinese, but English is when you are meeting people who are not speaking Chinese. But 90% of the time, you are using Chinese. So we should not, ignore Chinese learning. So in this way, we in this linguistic, portraits, language portraits, will give you a clearer idea of the different languages in your life, different languages in yourself, different language use that you are likely to encounter, or you are going to use those in your future life. So in that case, it gives us a better understanding of who we are, what languages we should speak, what languages we should use. So that is something that teachers can make full use of. Right.
All right, okay. So thank you so much, Professor, Even for your answers. There are a couple more comments and questions there left in the chat. So we invite you, the attendees, we invite Patricia, Uni, and Linita and Nancy to contact Professor Wen if you want to, continue the
Indeed.
conversation. I know that you are more than willing to cooperate and collaborate with
Exactly.
us and to expand the views. And there is just a little reminder here at the end. So thank you so much, Professor Edward, for this insightful webinar. Remember, this is going to be available and uploaded to YouTube, I think, by the end of this week. And if you're
Good.
interested in receiving a certificate of attendance, you can donate and, well, scan this QR code, and then there is this possibility. And last but not least, remember, we also have an informative on WhatsApp. There we are going to be posting our events, what we do with these collaborations with other people from other parts of the world. So we invite you all, if you haven't joined this informative, to do it. And then I remind you of our presence in social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, our email, and our phone number. So, as you know, and as it was announced back weeks ago in Santa Marta, our next conference is going to be 2026 in Universidad Industrial de Santander. So it's called Transforming ELT Context, Saberes Locales, Diversities, and AI. So I'm sure, guys, you are going to be working on interesting projects, initiatives, proposals. So start working on them, and we will be sharing with you some more details in the time to come. So thank you all for attending. Thank you, Professor Wen. I left there in the chat box also message by the Belt. They are working on an international project, okay, concerning key competencies of future teachers. So if you can also cooperate, filling this survey out, we would really appreciate it. So thank you all the attendees. We were more than 80 people connected, which is great. Thank you, Professor Edward. And well, guys, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good morning,
Yeah.
Professor Edward in
Wow.
Hong Kong, in China. And well, thank you all. Take care. Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much. Well, when is your conference? When
It's
will it
going to
be?
be in October next year.
October.
Yeah,
Mm. Good.
in Caramanga here in
Yeah,
Colombia.
I like the theme. It's exactly what I have been talking about, right? The transformation. Oh, this just can't wait. Okay, yeah, to have more
Okay.
collaboration. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and bye bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Stay in touch. Okay. Thank you. So let's stay in touch. Shall we? Shall I? Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll
Okay.
stop
Thank
the
you. Thank
recording.